One day, Jesus prayed alone, as he often did, and his disciples, Peter, James, and John, slept nearby as they often did. All of a sudden, they woke up and they noticed something was different about Jesus. His face and his clothing were just glowing. His clothing was white and bright as the newly fallen snow. Now, as if that wasn't enough to shake them up, they all of a sudden saw that Jesus was not alone. There were two other guys with him, and they recognized those fellows as Moses and Elijah. And then Jesus, Moses, and Elijah were lifted up into the air, and they got to talking with each other about something. It must have been something important. The disciples didn't know exactly what it was. But then from out of a cloud, they could hear the voice of God. "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him." Well, now that blew the disciples away completely. Now, Peter, being the impulsive sort of guy, said the first thing that came to his mouth. Well, now, Master, it's really great that we should be here. We really ought to stay. What do you say we build 3 tabernacles, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah? Well, just as quick as you could snap your fingers, Moses and Elijah disappeared, and everything seemed back to normal again. Don't tell anyone of this vision you've just seen. It is true that Elijah must come first and restore all things, but I tell you, Elijah has come already, and they have done with him what they wished because they didn't recognize him. Likewise, the Son of Man will suffer at their hands. In the town of Emmaus, Jesus ate supper with a rich Pharisee by the name of Simon. Things were going along swimmingly with Jesus and Simon and his buddies when, before you know it, they noticed somebody was down at Jesus' feet, and it wasn't the dog. It was some woman crying all over Jesus' feet, and she was drying his feet with her hair. According to the Bible, and according to Simon and his buddies, she was a sinful woman. Now, when you read in the Bible that a man has been sinful, you realize that you don't really know what he's been up to, and you really don't care. But when you read that a woman is a sinful woman, then you feel pretty sure what she's been up to. But at any rate, whatever she was doing, or had been doing, just wasn't one of the sins that gains people respect.
Well, what have we here?
Ooh, how terrible. He's letting a sinful woman touch him. Ugh.
Yes, he couldn't possibly be a prophet. If he were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him.
Hey, man, you see what he's doing? Oh, jumping Jehoshaphat. The man has no integrity. How does he live with himself? Indeed, how does he sleep at night? Now, those guys were whispering all that, but Jesus knew exactly what they were saying, and he had an answer for them. There once was a creditor who had 2 debtors. One owed him 50 pence, the other owed him 500. Neither could pay, and he forgave them both. Tell me, which one would love him more?
I would say the one who is forgiven more.
Very well said. And since my arrival at your home, no one gave me water to wash my feet, and no one gave me a towel to dry them. But this woman has not ceased washing my feet with her tears and drying them with her hair. Daughter, Your sins are forgiven. Go and sin no more. The town of Bethany was about 5 miles from Jerusalem. That's about 8 kilometers. There in Bethany, there were a couple of sisters named Mary and Martha who had a brother named Lazarus. They were friends of Jesus, and they had a big house in Bethany where Jesus and some of his friends could stay while they were in the area. Now, all of them liked to sit and listen to what Jesus had to say about God, the Bible, and such like. But when it came time to make supper, Mary and Martha headed for the kitchen. Jesus could really enjoy eating a feast when one was put in front of him, but he really didn't feel that he needed one. After all, to him, enough is as good as a feast. A plate of chicken and dumplings, black-eyed peas, and collard greens for him would have been more than a sufficiency. Mary understood all that, and she appreciated it, but Martha didn't see things quite that way. She wanted to really put on the dog. Mary helped Martha in the kitchen until she figured that enough was enough, and then she cut loose, headed for where Jesus was talking to others, and she sat right down in front of him to listen to what he had to say. Martha put up with this as long as she could. She was getting as mad as a wet rooster. Finally, she went sashaying into the parlor, and she reared back on her hind legs, and she demanded that Jesus tell Mary to get up and get back into that kitchen. Martha, you have anxieties about many things, too many things. Mary has chosen the best part. I will not take it away from her.